Biden is collapsing as his 100-day approval rating plunges to the third lowest since tracking began over 70 years ago. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest ABC News Washington Post poll that has Biden panicking, how the mainstream media is actually doing everything they possibly can to cover the poll disaster up, and why it's not working as more Americans than ever are walking away from Biden and the Democrats. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, we're here to give you each and every single day conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent and trying times, helping you to think better so you can feel better and provide for you a patriot path to freedom. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we dive into things here, make sure to click on that link below and head on over to my special website for My Patriot Food Supplies. We saw with this whole pandemic insanity, we cannot wait for an emergency to happen before we respond to one, and no one makes preparing for an emergency more ridiculously easy and affordable than My Patriot Supply. Gang, they're simply the best. Their food kits last up to 25 years in storage. They include breakfast, lunches, and dinners. And if you act now, you can save $50 off a full 4-week emergency food supply when you click on the link below to my special website. So do not wait. I have got my food supply. Make sure you get yours. Click on that link below or go to preparewithsteve.com and save $50 off your very own 4-week emergency food supply today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. It is now official. It's absolutely official. Joe Biden, once heralded as the single most popular man ever elected president with over 80 million votes, more than any other human in the history of the cosmos, the single most popular man on planet Earth, as it turns out, is in point of fact one of the single most unpopular presidents ever. With his first 100 days in office now complete, a brand new ABC Washington Post poll has found that Joe Biden's approval rating at the 100-day mark of his presidency is, quote, the third lowest since tracking began in 1945. According to the poll, quote, all told, 52% of Americans in the latest ABC News Washington Post poll approve of Biden's work in office, lower than any president 100 days in office since 1945, for the exception of Gerald Ford in 1974, who got 48% because of his unpopular part of Nixon, and Donald Trump at 42% in 2017. They should have qualified that by saying, after we, the media, gave Trump 92% negative coverage for the first 100 days in office, but of course, they omitted that part. ABC News went on to report that, quote, for the 14 presidents from Truman to Biden, the 100-day average is 66% approval. ABC political director Richard Klein said, quote, Biden's honeymoon appears to be ending if it was even there in the first place. What's so striking here is you can at the same time say President Biden is in so much stronger position than his predecessor, but so much weaker than almost everyone else that we've seen at this point in a presidency. What a fall, no? I mean, you would think that that would be the headline. Biden, once the single most popular human being on the planet, receiving more votes than any presidential candidate in human history, has suddenly plummeted to the third lowest approval rating for any president since tracking began over 70 freaking years ago. You would think that such a headline would be splashed on the front pages of media publications all across the nation, wouldn't you? But then again, that's if we actually had a media that reported news. Instead, we've got a propaganda machine that pumps out narrative, not news. So obviously the tempered headlines for Biden's humiliating poll numbers reflect the fact that the media has become the propaganda wing for the Democrat Party. The Media Research Center just published a study. It's pretty interesting. It contrasted the coverage that President Trump got in his first 60 days in office versus that of Sleepy Joe, while Trump got 89% negative coverage from the media during the same time period in his respective presidency. Biden got an astonishing 59% positive coverage. So 90% negative versus 60% positive. I mean, look at this from CBS, gang. Look at this. Biden receives positive marks at 100 days, CBS News poll. ABC gives him one of the worst polls for any president in over 70 years. But hey, let's forget that and let's take a look at this wonderful puff piece from CBS. The morning briefing over at PJ Media said it best. Mainstream media poll dances to pretend Biden is doing well. Biden is being permafluffed by the mainstream Marxist media, and the good news is that the public is recognizing it. A recent survey by the Media Research Center found that 45% of 1,000 respondents believe that the media has been far easier on Biden than on Trump. Only 35% believe that the coverage between the two was the same. Those 35 are obviously in a moral coma. So that's certainly good news that a plurality recognize how pathetic the media has been with Biden. But having said that, with all the permafluff coverage the Marxist media is giving to Biden, we could certainly see a number of reasons for his collapsing poll numbers, don't you think? I think Greg Gutfeld said it best. In the end, Biden is failing precisely because he's actively trying to unify the country around disunity. He's trying to unify the nation by promoting the notion that the nation is racist and alienates half or even more than half the population. I mean, think about that. How absurd this whole leftist Marxist project ultimately is. They're trying to unify us around the belief that we're a bunch of racists. They think they can create solidarity by convincing us of how much we exclude. But not only is this absurd on the face of it, we now have a new Yale University study that shows that all this Marxist racist obsession from the Democratic Party is actually alienating voters. And what was so fascinating with this study is that it found that all the racist ranting coming from the Democratic Party is actually alienating them, get this, from their own base. The study actually found that economic issues galvanized the Democratic base far more than racist rhetoric. The study found that Democratic voters were far more likely to support an issue if it was couched under the term economic justice than if it was couched under the term racial justice. And this was particularly true of white Democrats, which is hilarious if you think it through. White Democrats are the least galvanized by all this racial injustice rhetoric. So much for the party of tolerance, right? But it's not just the alienating nature, the incessant racist rhetoric. We've talked ad nauseum about the Princeton study that found that race riots overwhelmingly turned the public away from the Democrats and toward the political right. So obviously the insanity going on in our urban areas is having an effect on Biden's poll numbers. But also we cannot overlook just how much the horrific crisis at the border has hurt Biden. A new poll just came out just over this weekend that shows that Biden is absolutely hemorrhaging support at the border. But before we get into that, what do you think of this cool shirt, huh? Is this not cool or what? If a shirt like this can make a goofball like me look cool, imagine what it can do for you. But seriously, if you click on that link below, you can check out our awesome merch that celebrates the worldwide patriot movement that's rising up all over the globe. We've got all kinds of pro-Trump gear. We've got Patriot iPhone cases. We got Orwell quotes. We got anti-big tech shirts, you name it. And we together can wear our shirts with pride, reminding people everywhere that our freedom is not for sale. So make sure to click on that link below and find some super awesome swag for yourself, for your friends, for your loved ones. And let's wear together a sign for all the world to see that the worldwide patriot movement is stronger than ever. All right, gang, let's look at this from Fox News. 3 times as many say border security is worse under Biden than Trump. And note the byline, voters give the president his worst job ratings on border security and immigration. By a 46 to 15% margin, voters say that the U.S. border security is worse today than it was 2 years ago. Voters by a wide margin disapprove of Biden's handling of the border. 52% of those surveyed disapprove of Biden's performance on immigration, while only 34% approve. That's an 18-point margin in favor of disapproval. The numbers were virtually identical when it came to border security. 51% disapproved, while only 35% approved. Gang, even the radical left mainstream Marxist media has had to admit that as every new day passes, Biden and the Democrats are getting more and more hammered for the completely unjustifiable crisis at our southern border. Look at this from Rasmussen. 73%, 3 in 4 likely voters, are concerned about the flood of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. 48% are very concerned, and 51% of likely voters oppose giving them any form of amnesty. And we could go on and on. The vast majority of the population opposes packing the courts. The vast majority of the population, they oppose D.C. statehood. They oppose getting rid of the Senate filibuster. They oppose radical gun control. You name it, in issue after issue after issue, Biden and the Democrats come out the losers. As it turns out, we're finding more and more every day that Biden ain't so popular after all. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. Definitely click on that link below and check out some of our awesome merch. And I definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how it looks increasingly likely that France is turning to the right. President Macron is panicking as Marine Le Pen surges in the presidential polls. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.